Hello, clever people! Welcome to my top 10 movies of the year. Now that 2016 has finally come to a close, I will be sharing my top 10 movies that were released theatrically this year. There were a lot of great ones, but I do have to slim it down to 10. All in all, I would say that this year was about 50-50 on quality. You had 50% were good, 50% were bad, but these were the best of the 50% good. Just a disclaimer right now, I did not see every movie released theatrically in 2016. I have not seen A Monster Calls yet, I have not seen Hidden Figures, and there are also a lot of R-rated movies that I still need to see that I can't quite yet. There's The Nice Guys, there's Manchester by the Sea, just a few films that I can't quite see yet, but eventually I will see, and I can add them to my top list if they are of the quality that everyone says they are. However, these are the top 10 of the ones that I have seen, so let's get right into it. Right away, I want to go with the honorable mentions. I gotta mention Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Almost got in there. It's a very, very good Star Wars movie, but I don't think that it's quite the best. Kubo and the Two Strings, very original, creative movie that I very much enjoyed. The Meddler, very, very nice, small movie, not necessarily super huge in plot, not gonna win any Oscars, but just a very fun movie. Captain America Civil War, really, really well done look at the Avengers as a team, how they work with each other, and just all the messages on how, the violence and how it affects people around them. Just a lot of powerful stuff there. Fences, a movie terrifically acted, so well done. Just had a few issues here and there, but if it was more of a movie and less of a play, it could definitely be in my top 10, maybe even top 5. Loving, Jeff Nichols movie, absolutely fantastic. A bit tedious at times, but very, very well done. And finally, the one that almost got in there but couldn't quite make it was 10 Cloverfield Lane. Super suspenseful movie, fantastically written by Damien Chazelle. A very, very fun movie that I think a lot of people are forgetting about around this time, but very, very suspenseful. He's not going to, but I believe that John Goodman does deserve an Oscar nomination for his performance in this movie. He did a fantastic job. All right, let's jump right into the top 10. At number 10, I have Cafe Society. Cafe Society is the new film by Woody Allen, and it's a really cliched story. It's a person is in love with someone, and there's another person in love with that same person, and those two people that are in love with the person know each other, but they haven't quite revealed it to each other yet. We've seen that premise a lot, but I like how Woody Allen took everything and sort of made it not cliche. He made it so that everything was not a cliche in the movie. The story felt very original, the set design too, fantastic for the times, and such an enjoyable movie. I would rewatch it practically any time. It's so well written by Woody Allen, and I know he is not a good person in real life, but his movies are very, very well done. And also Jesse Eisenberg, he just did a great job in that role. Honestly, I think that performance from him is on equal to The Social Network. I know I may get some hate for that, but I would absolutely recommend Cafe Society. At number 9, you have The Edge of 17. John Hughes is a director that I very, very much admire. The Breakfast Club is in my top 20 of all time, Ferris Bueller is in my top 100, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, She's Having a Baby, 16 Candles, those are all movies I really, really enjoy. And what I really like about The Edge of 17 is how it felt like a John Hughes movie. If John Hughes was still alive and he was making movies, this is what one of his movies would look like. Haley Steinfeld did a great job in her performance, and this movie doesn't pull any punches. It shows high school in a very realistic way. There aren't necessarily any cliches. It's a very, very modern look at modern school society. So I very, very much did enjoy The Edge of 17. At number 8, we have Hell or High Water. This film just sort of came out of nowhere. It was a little western that was coming out. People were excited for it, but when it came out, everyone was shocked at how good it really, really was. Jeff Bridges, Chris Pratt, and Ben Foster all give phenomenal performances. They all have to display a certain characteristic of humanity, and I know that sounds weird, but they do it so well. The action is edge of your seat, intense, and all that it has to say about that time period, the commentary that it lends to it, is very, very well done. At number 7, we have Sing Street. Sing Street was just simply a fun movie. It's one of the greatest experiences I had in the theater this year. It was a great escape. You just got to go to a movie and enjoy what was happening. There was a lot of humor and a lot of drama, and it all worked very well. The music was absolutely fantastic, very, very catchy, and I don't know the actor, but whoever played the brother was amazing in this movie. Sing Street, definitely a movie I recommend, and definitely a movie that I can see myself watching for years and years to come. Number 6, Hunt for the Wilderpeople. I do not know the director's name. I don't even want to try to pronounce it because I feel like I'll butcher it. But this director, he is just awesome. I've only seen one of his films, which is this one, but I know that he did What We Do in the Shadows, which was very critically acclaimed, and he's about to do Thor Ragnarok. And honestly, this movie made me 10 times more excited for Thor Ragnarok than I would ever be if it wasn't for him. This movie has a fantastic style. It's a very creative story that we haven't really seen a lot. The dynamic duo between the old man and the young boy was very, very well done, and just the style of it, how it sort of is making fun at self-serious movies, and it's just such an enjoyable experience. I know I said that about practically every other film on this list, but this one out of them all is probably the most entertaining. I can suggest this film to absolutely anyone. I absolutely love Hunt for the Wilderpeople. Alright, coming in at number 5, we have 20th Century Woman. This was a film that actually caught me by surprise. I was honestly genuinely shocked on how much I loved this movie. This was a very unique film. It's a coming of age movie, but instead of focusing on the son, it focused on the mother's point of view, how she saw things. But not only her, you still got it from the person that lives with him. You got it from the main boy's, best friend. You got all these different perspectives on the cliched coming of age movie, and I really enjoyed that. The characters are all very, very flawed, and that makes them very accessible, and I just really did love 20th Century Woman. When it expands wide, I highly recommend that anyone were to see it. Alright, coming in at number 4, I have a tie. No, not because of quality, but it's by what you define as a film. There was a mini-series film and a film this year that came out that I both loved. Now, if you do consider OJ Made in America, which is the TV series mini-film, if you do consider that a film, you can just keep it at number 4 and put the other film underneath it and just push everything down. Or if you don't, then just to put Zootopia at number 4. So, starting off with OJ Made in America, what I love so much about this documentary is how interesting it made this story. This was a very tiring story. I was not born during the events of it, but when it happened, a lot of people were just really interested to see what happened, but at the same time, news footage went on for 3 months. People got tired of the story, and really nobody wanted to revisit it. What Ezra Edelman was able to do was create such an interesting documentary. Through interviews, they had haunting dialogue that was so well done. The interviews were all great. You got to learn about all these characters, learn so much about them. OJ Made in America is a perfect example of how great a documentary can be. And Zootopia is the only film this year that I bought on Blu-ray. When my top 3 come out, I'll definitely buy them. But Zootopia was such a great movie. Why? It was different from every other Disney movie that we've gotten before. It wasn't about a princess who lives in a castle and is looking for Prince Charming, or a princess who lives on an island and is looking to get a guy to help her with something. It was nothing about that. This story revolved around a bunny who was having a really tough time going through life. She was having a terrible time at her job, and she gets involved in this crime case. In the meantime, you also have Nick Wilde, this fox, again, Fox, not a human, who is a sly person that has a lot of emotion behind him. He has a hard time facing extreme prejudice against him. All these powerful things that made all these animals feel more human than practically any human character in a film this year. They were so well written, and just the animation too was fantastic. The commentary on racism and just everything in this movie. It was nothing that we've seen in a Disney movie before. Completely original and creative, and honestly, it makes me a bit mad that Moana is considered better than this movie, and Moana is basically just classic Disney done again. I really enjoy that Disney decided to go off and do something else. Coming in at number 3 is Arrival. Arrival is a movie I was shocked by. I was very, very excited for it going in, but what I got that I wasn't expecting was an experience. This film is absolutely an experience. You go into the theater, you sit down, and boom, right away, you're invested in what's going on. Just through the opening few minutes, you already get a strong enough emotional backstory with Amy Adams' character, and then what happens with that story at the end of it, it was mind-boggling. Every single thing that happened in this movie fit the film. It wasn't a twist just to be a twist, and it honestly made language super extremely interesting, which is so hard to do. The King's Speech was very well acclaimed for making language interesting, but Arrival did it times 10. This was such an original sci-fi movie that had no action battles, but instead was a thinking man's sci-fi, and for that, I loved Arrival. I'm going to start this off by saying that 1 and 2 have gone back and forth multiple times throughout the past couple weeks. I've had a hard time choosing which one I put at 1, which one I put at 2, which one did I find more enjoyment in, which one do I think is better made. So this is my choice as of right now. I could definitely change it, but as of right now, this is what I'm choosing. Ask me tomorrow, and I could have number 2 at number 1, number 1 at number 2, but for right now, this is my order. So coming in at number 2, we have Moonlight. Moonlight, another film that just took everyone by surprise. Everyone heard that this was a great dramatic movie, but what Moonlight had in it was something very, very special to it. It was a quiet movie, extremely subtle, but it displayed some of the most powerful things of the year. Too many movies think that in order to be great and emotional, you have to be in your face about everything. That was not Moonlight. It was a quiet movie, it stayed back, and it was absolutely fantastic. Every single theme was so well displayed. Practically, there's no scene that is just wasted. There's not a single one. Each of them conveys something different that you learn about a character. Some more emotional complexities about the characters. Some very powerful themes, because every single character affected Chiron, the main character. And it was very, very well done. A lot of things too in the story change. Things that you thought were stable end up changing. Things that you thought are constantly changing end up being stable. There is a certain scene towards the end of this movie where Chiron's mom is talking to him, and it is honestly the most emotionally powerful scene of this year. I nearly choked up. I nearly cried during that scene, and Moonlight is the most real film that we've got in a long time. So again, Moonlight was almost right up there, but what do I think is better than Moonlight? It's what I have at number 1, which is La La Land. La La Land is it's a masterpiece. It is a musical masterpiece. It is so powerful. It is so entertaining, very romantic, very happy, very sad, very everything. That's how I would define La La Land. Very everything. This movie did practically anything that a movie could do correctly. In fact, on my second viewing of this movie, because I've only seen it twice now, on my second viewing, I decided to analyze everything that happened, every single shot, and what the characters were doing, and I was shocked how much I saw in everything. For example, there's a certain scene where Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are about to break out into music, but what you see is Ryan Gosling sort of stumbling for a second and then, standing straight back up again. And that little moment right there, just that little bit of thought by Damien Chazelle, just put more humanity into the musical numbers. The musical numbers, too, fit the film fantastically. The idea of dreams, how people who have dreams, they may seem crazy, but it's really what they want, and really being successful and how hard that is today is just a theme anyone can relate to. Whether it's not getting the job you want, whether it's not being where you want, living where you want, anything, that this film is a love letter to the people that have gone through that kind of stuff. La La Land is a masterpiece. I will definitely be rewatching this one. The moment it comes out, I am buying it. It is a film that will be remembered for ages and ages, and La La Land does deserve my number 1 spot this year. Alright, that concludes my top 10 of the year. What are your top 10 of the year? Comment in the comment section below. I am Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.